Welcome back, everyone. It's Black History Month, and in the coming weeks, we'll be shining a light on historic moments and Black Canadians who have helped shape our country. Joining us with her new book, Movers, Shakers, and History Makers. I love that title. Please welcome Montreal author and activist Akilah Newton. Nice to have you with us.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely beautifully illustrated. This book combines art with education, and that's something that you champion. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your nonprofit organization, Overture with the Arts.
Absolutely. So in 2009, I was looking for a way to have kids stay engaged and create in a safe and positive environment. And I founded the organization Overture with the Arts. And essentially what we do is we go into schools and we do after school programming that surrounds and that involves performing arts, media arts, visual arts, and we just really want kids to create. So it's been 12 years, and we've had over 50,000 kids take part in the programming. So it's been really great, and a lot of what we do as well is arts for social change. And one of our most popular programs is our annual Black History Month school tour, which I do with my twin brother, Marilyn Denis. So we tour schools across Canada, and we educate kids and staff specifically about Canadian Black history.
So that's changed this year a little bit because you've had to do it online, I would guess.
Yeah, we're so used to going to schools and doing assemblies and having interaction with kids in person, but this year we've had to change it because of COVID. So we have been doing it virtually. We did our first presentation actually on January 18th, which was Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and it actually went really well virtually. We're still able to make it interactive. Kids were asking questions during the chat feature, so it still worked.
You know, I love what you're doing because in a lot of cases, the budgets for schools have been cut. And so the fun and the art and the learning process on that end has changed. That would have been terrible for me because I'm not the biggest academic you've ever met in your life. So it's so good that you're still able to do that and being so engaged with the kids.
Absolutely. I mean, I look back to my experiences when I was in school, and art was basically my saving grace. I loved dance. I loved music. I loved theater. I was not a mathematic kid. I was not, a science kid. I actually did not even enjoy history when I was in high school. And then fast forward 20 years
Really?
later, I wrote a children's history book. Yeah.
So when did that turn? When did that change for you?
It actually changed while I was running programs through my nonprofit organization. By going into these schools and doing our Black History Month school tour, I noticed that there was a lack of resources that were specific to Canadian Black history. A lot of times, my friends would say to me, "Oh, can you recommend some books for me about Canadian Black history?" And as I was researching, I found that there was a wealth of information about America. So there was stuff about Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa
Yeah.
Parks, the Civil Rights Movement, but we didn't have a lot of information about Canadian heroes. And there are so many phenomenal Black Canadians that we need to be celebrating. So a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, wait a second. I've been touring schools with my brother for over, a decade now. I have a wealth of information. Why don't I just create the resource? And that's how the first book, Big Dreamers, the Canadian Black History Activity Book for Kids, Volume 1 was born. And it was so
Yeah.
popular because there aren't that many resources out there that I actually just released volume 2 in November. And then I decided to do a fully illustrated book for kids called Movers and Shakers. So there's definitely a demand
Yeah.
for it, and I'm really happy that I'm able to educate kids about Black history.
And this one is rhyming, isn't it? It's a rhyming version of your previous book.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So the first one that I did was an activity book where kids could actually color in the pages. They could do crossword puzzles and connect the dots. But I noticed that I was getting a lot of pushback from libraries. They were saying, we love the content, but we actually can't carry this book because kids write in activity books. So a light bulb went off my head, and I decided that, you know what, that's a problem and I have a solution. So I'm going to basically write a children's storybook. And then the libraries don't have to worry about kids writing in the books. And then kids and their families can still learn about Canadian Black history. And you know what? The information is actually relevant for adults as well. So it's really nice that the kids and their parents get to read the information together.
I love that. I think the artwork is beautiful too. Movers, shakers, history makers. Love all everything about that. And the other thing is, you're right. It does connect parents to what's happening, and everyone should know about all of this for sure. It's interesting when I look back at my education in the United States, how little I knew about, Canada, and how little I knew about Black History Month. I didn't know anything about that. So it's educational for all, and we appreciate you doing that. Where can people follow you, Akilah?
So people could follow me either on my social media with Akilah Newton ANP, and that's on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And they could also go to my website, which is bigdreamers.ca.
I love it. So nice to meet you and talk to you, and I'm glad to hear that you weren't good in math either.
Well, it's not an easy subject. I'm a creative
I
mind,
thought,
so we need more creatives.
yeah, okay, we got to stick together. All right. The book is Movers, Shakers, History Makers, and it's out right now. Thank you, Akilah.
Thank you.